When you can see yourself in a different way, you can stop patterns of sabotage, destruction, going down a path that would end up bringing you out of your happiness. You can make a choice on these patterns that are ancestral or familial, patterns that are karmic, because you can see it. That's
Yes.
wisdom, right? That's
Yes.
wisdom. You can see, oh, if I go down that road this time, I know where it will lead. I don't want to do that this time.
Right.
And that's how our life changes, and that's how we become happy.
Welcome to Letting Go and the Greatest Secret, where we explore the end of your suffering and the beginning of lasting happiness. I'm Hale Dwoskin, and today we'll be talking with Deirdre Hade. Deirdre Hade is a modern-day mystic, poet, author, and mentor in the ancient arts of the wisdom traditions. She works every day to help her clients unite their soul purpose with everyday life.
And I love this book, The Greatest Secret, because what Rhonda's talking about really is the greatest secret. In my vernacular, the way I work with people, I call that the greatest secret, the silent watcher. And the silent watcher is this place within us of consciousness, of pure existence. It is the knower of the knowing. So, we have the knowing, like I know, I think I know who I am, or I know that
Right.
there's, I know there's a lamp there, and I know today is whatever the date is. But then there is the knower of the knowing. That's where the greatest secret is, because that silent watcher, that awareness is the pure presence of absolute peace. This awareness that is within every single one of us lives in peace and lives in a state of neutrality, a state of non-judgment, and a state of non-reaction. And when we can connect to this silent watcher, it's a game changer for finding happiness, for living a really good life. And we are here to have a wonderful human experience. We are in the garden. That's what the Creator wants for us. And this really is the way to do it.
Yeah, beautifully put. So, in my experience, the silent watcher, as you call it, or beingness or awareness, doesn't the terms are irrelevant.
Yeah.
In my experience, there aren't numerous watchers. There's just the one silent watcher. Isn't that your
Correct.
experience too?
Yes, there's just one. There's just one. And as we develop our consciousness, what happens is we go deeper and deeper through the layers of the one, right? Like that one within us, the one silent watcher, the one observer, becomes more and more expansive. And it happens in an experience. I mean, it's not something you can write in a book or put in a formula. It really is an experience of, oh, now I'm seeing the world from a wider view, a wider perspective. Now I'm noticing things I didn't notice before, things that were right in front of me. I used to walk right by. Did you ever find that happen with you as you
Yeah, there's two things.
expanded?
There's what you're saying. I've had many people in my seminars say to me, I feel like I went from a 2D world to a 3D world.
Yeah.
Everything seems richer, clearer, more, the colors are brighter. Everything is the filter. The more you're at rest as that which you truly are, the filters are dropping away,
Right.
and everyone's filters dissolve at their own rate. But for me, the other thing that I notice for the people I work with and with myself is that the As you allow yourself to see as the watcher or as awareness, you you not only see the world in a different way, but you see yourself in a very different way.
Absolutely. And I would say we know ourselves in a different way.
Yes.
And it's also really practical
Very practical, yeah.
because
People don't realize that. They
it's
think,
very
well, you have
practical.
this experience and you're all in woo-woo
Yeah,
land, and it's not
right.
like that.
No, because when you can see yourself in a different way, you can stop patterns of sabotage, destruction, getting in, going down a path that would end up uh, bringing you out of your happiness. You can make a choice on these patterns that are ancestral or familial, patterns that are karmic. You can look because you can see it. That's
Yes,
wisdom, right? That's
yes,
wisdom. You can see, oh, if I go down that road this time, I know where it will lead. I don't want to do that this time.
right.
And that's how our life changes, and that's how we become happy.
Yes,
At least this is my experience and the people I've worked with. So it
yes.
is very practical. What we're talking about is very practical.
It is very practical. It's almost like uh, as this understanding unfolds within you, you when you bring awareness to it, whatever you're experiencing, it tends to dissolve that which is unnecessary.
Correct.
Naturally, you don't even need to work at it. And although it is, I think, part of the deepening in this process, or the expanding of this, or the way awareness naturally is always right here, right now. It's that which
Mm-hmm.
is seeing through those eyes, hearing through those ears. It already is full, but it's mixed with our thoughts, our feelings, our beliefs, our ideas, and we don't always notice it. But as you stop, before you discover what you are, you're looking at trying to get to the truth. But as you discover that which you are, you're coming from that, and in coming
Yes.
from that, things
Mhm.
transform naturally. Has that been your experience too?
Yes, absolutely. And the beauty, as I share with the people who study with me, is that when the perception shifts, just as you were so eloquently explaining, you realize that we are a reflection of the light of all that is, the knower, the silent watcher, the pure consciousness, and that everything is just is truly a reflection. And when we can clear the filters, we see the truth of that reflection.
Yes.
It's like if you had a flower and it looked kind of gray, then you realized there was glass over it that was gray. And then you just removed the glass and you went, oh my, the flower's really yellow.
Right.
Right? You mean my brother-in-law is really nice?
Right. You mean the whole world isn't out to get me?
Exactly. Yeah, wow, you mean the world's abundant and
All
good
right. Yeah,
and
yeah,
wow, I didn't see that before.
yeah. Right, exactly. Yeah, it really is about seeing through the filters, because the filters
Mhm.
are 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 artificial and they're not real. They're just an
Correct.
appearance.
And sometimes the filters have cracks in them.
Yes.
Sometimes they have cracks, sometimes they're broken. That's where the healing comes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
they in my experience, and let me know if you agree with that. The
Mhm.
cracks actually appear from within, because that light that you are shining through, and the filters start to come apart.
Correct. And interestingly enough, I've found, and in doing this work for decades and decades, when the brokenness within us, the cracks in those filters, when we can really see them, we are on the precipice of great transformation,
Yes.
because it means they're about ready to be lifted.
Yes. Yes.
So many times, I know for my work with the healing, people, I used to joke and say, "Oh, I'm last stop Brooklyn Bridge." So, they've tried everything, nothing, right? Last stop Brooklyn Bridge. Because when our world, or in our personal life, we even see globally, we see a lot of what pain or things that make us very upset about humanity. Really, these are the traumas that are being revealed, which means transformation, global transformation, or transformation within our own self, they're both the same thing, is really on its way. And it's really the time to dive into the spirit and into the greatest secret and into that silent watcher and that pure awareness. Sometimes we get afraid, and that's when we run away. But it's really time to dive in, because there is a miracle just on the other side of that.
Yes. Yes. When we stop living life on the surface, we
Right.
discover an infinite pool of happiness and joy and peace and certainty. And then that informs or colors our experience. So it's, again, back to what you said earlier, it's very practical. Even though it seems like it's not, it's very practical to recognize that which you truly are.
Absolutely. I'll tell you kind of an interesting little story. I was reading
Sure.
about, because I love history, I love to study, about the wisdom schools in Egypt. So apparently, at least from the evidence we've discovered and the writings, that in Egypt, they set up wisdom schools for people because they felt without them, people could not be happy.
Hmm.
They couldn't have a good experience, no matter if you gave them the grain, the food they needed, you took care of you took care of them, gave them everything they needed. The people would still not have a good life, and they were worried about what would happen to the population, to the people, or in that time their world, if people did not know or have a path of wisdom. And they set up these wisdom schools. And many of, like the Vedas, the Upanishads, even the Tree of Life of the Kabbalah, that goes so far back to these ancient wisdom schools. And really, what we're talking about today is a new translation of this lineage of wisdom,
Oh,
of
definitely.
of how to find our way back into our true self, so
Yes,
we can be
definitely.
happy.
It's in every culture. I have an affinity for the Advaita Vedanta, which is
Yes,
5,000 years old.
yes.
And that's been an unbroken wisdom school. And it's so interesting. I recently have been just reviewing some of the
Mm-hmm.
texts and also some videos of some of the teachers who just teach from the texts, although
Mm-hmm.
some of them are in a very good place themselves. They're not doing it just
Mm-hmm.
intellectually. And uh, I find myself, what I've been saying some of the exact same things that are in these texts, and I'm not quoting them. It's what's come out spontaneously as I've
Mm-hmm.
been focusing on helping people discover the truth of who they are. Spontaneously, we're asking what I didn't realize at the time were classical Advaitic Vedanta. They call it Vivekas.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea, but it was very nice to see that the wisdom that's been around for literally for thousands of years is just coming out through all of us. It's not special to me or to you.
Right.
In my experience, yes, there are challenges on the planet at the moment, some great challenges.
Mm.
But at the same time, there's this acceleration of people wanting to discover truth, to live truth, to discover that happiness that's beyond sorrow, that's beyond what's happening to the body mind.
Oh, absolutely. And that's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing this. I love the Vedanta. As a matter of fact, we live right next to the Vedanta temple here in
Oh, you
Santa
do? Oh, that's
Barbara.
great.
Yeah, it's right
Do you ever
down
go
the
next
street.
door?
Oh, yes. They closed it for COVID, but yeah, I just walk over there. It's just very, very special. And it's interesting because I had a similar experience with the Kabbalah's Tree of Life. In my work, in my deep meditations, I started receiving this information. Um, and it was really helping people, and it was so wonderful. And then when I did research, I said, oh my gosh, this is the Tree of Life. It's already been published.
Oh, well.
Oh, well. Exactly. So,
Oh, that's beautiful.
truth
But
is
yeah, and
truth.
I remember what the
Mm,
last time that we were together, you were talking about the tree of life in a
mm,
very beautiful way. Again, these
thank you.
every tradition, every culture has these wisdom schools. They don't always call them wisdom schools, but they're ways that that particular culture had developed to experience the truth of who they are. And Kabbalah is a very powerful
Mm,
path, very,
mm,
very advanced. And by the way, I have to tell you a funny
yeah.
aside. My wife and I just redid we just landscaped a part of our property.
Mhm.
Uh, and we planted these trees, and we planted a ginkgo tree. And
Mm,
the the landscaper we're working with is very tuned in. She talks to the plants,
mm,
she touches them and
mm,
feels their energy. She places them in a grid,
mm,
not without knowing. And
mhm.
the plants she selected are very alive. And this one looks exactly like the tree of life.
Oh, wow. Beautiful. Well, I'll tell you something that's really going to make you excited. There is a relief in the museum outside of Jerusalem, the Museum of Antiquities, that is one of the oldest found carved reliefs of the Tree of Life. It's from Sumer. And the tree in the Tree of Life is a ginkgo tree.
Oh,
In that relief.
oh, that's
Yep.
cool.
Isn't that cool?
That
So
is
there
cool.
you go. You just
That
tapped
could be
right
where
in.
that could be where it came from.
That's
Because
what I'm
the
saying. That's where it
the
came.
ginkgo tree is an ancient tree. It's a really
Yes.
ancient tree.
Yeah. So that's very cool. Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Well, it's all, again, it's like what you said. It's the river, the river that carries us through our incarnations, carrying our soul, so we can experience and wake up and really experience the fruits of reality instead of the suffering of reality.
Right.
We're
Right.
on that path to experience the fruits of the tree of life, which are the gifts of being in the human incarnation, because
Yes.
it's a
Yes.
gift to be here, to be in the body.
Yes.
um, as long as we understand that the body is our vehicle, uh, and not who we are, but our vehicle. I found, just coming from that place of the silent watcher, of knowing the body is the vehicle, it's just what you said earlier, that when you look at a situation or a problem or a pain or an illness from that place, it dissolves it. Just being able to watch it, whatever the situation, it dissolves. Now,
Yes.
the physical aspect may not go away, but your experience of it changes drastically to where it's incorporated in your part of your life, but it's not bad.
Right, right. It,
It's just, oh, well, okay, there it is. Like recently, I just kind of torqued my knee. It was an old injury from being a ballet dancer. And so now I'm, working on healing it, hobbling around. So, so we have two ways of looking at that. One is to really intensify that this is so bad, I'm in pain. And the other way is to watch it from the silent watcher. Oh, there goes. Oh, I love you, body. You're such a good car, and you know, but I don't have any judgment about it's good or bad.
yes,
And in doing that, the pain lessens, the swelling's going away. It just starts to heal on its own.
yes, yes.
Um, that's been my experience, but what about you?
Oh,
You
this the
do,
exact same thing.
hmm
This body is getting older, so
yeah,
there are things, but as the seeing it as from truth, the body is just doing what the body is doing, and it
right,
takes care of itself. And
right.
it's not that you don't do whatever you can to nurture and
hmm
support it. Just if you need vitamins, you take
hmm
vitamins. You need to go to a practitioner, you go to a
Oh,
practitioner.
absolutely.
But if I find that if I that awareness that I am, that
Mm-hmm.
beingness that I am,
Mm-hmm.
that you are, that all uh, is is neutral and completely accepting of whatever experience is appearing in the body mind world. An affectionate awareness.
Yes, I
It's
love that.
uh, and it just allows for all to be as it is. And so even when things are off with the body or off in the life isn't going the way you'd like, the suffering isn't there because you're not identified with it. You're not lost in the story of it. You're just being yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love what you just said about the affectionate observation. And it
Yes.
is. It's very the awareness, uh, the silent watcher, the consciousness within us, when we connect with that, it's love.
Yes.
There's a rayification or a radiance of love that's just
Yes.
always there.
Yes. Yes.
It's just always there. It never ever goes away.
Yes. Yes.
And oh, it's beautiful to be able to connect with that. One thing I always share with those who work with me, I say, just if you don't have time to do the deep meditation, that someone like I do, I do a lot of meditation because I just, that's where I'm happiest.
Yes.
But if you don't have time, just throughout the day, take one moment and connect into that awareness.
Yes.
And sometimes what I found helps people is if you visualize, if you can see a light within or a ray of light, sometimes that will help to kind of anchor one into that I am that I amness. Just take a moment throughout, just little moments.
Yes.
And what will happen, what I found with where people reported back is that, wow, now they're living more and more in that state of the watcher as
Yes.
opposed to going in and out.
Yes. Yes.
They're
Yes.
able oh, the watcher's like always there.
Yes. 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 Very well put. Yeah. The watcher or the awareness
Mm-hmm.
never moves.
Never moves,
The
right?
mind comes and goes.
Right.
The it reasserts itself, but
Yes.
it doesn't. It never has. It's never in charge. It just thinks it is.
Exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah.
Also, you mentioned this thing about it's
Um,
beautiful. Uh, Another thing that I noticed, and you can tell me if you've been experiencing this too, but there is this love that's at the heart of all experience. And
mm,
that's basically all emotion is varying forms of love, no matter what it looks like on the outside. But also, whenever we experience beauty,
yes.
that's also the
Yes.
and that's in it's the places that the world is most transparent to that oneself. It's just shining through. And that's why it appears
Absolutely.
beautiful.
That's absolutely true. And in our culture today, one of my dreams, and I see it happening, is people returning to the honoring and appreciation of beauty. We can make beautiful buildings. We can build beautiful cities. It all comes from consciousness. There's a way to just expand the beauty because God is pure beauty.
Yes.
Just the way when we look at a sunset or a mountain is pure beauty. We can't say break it down to, oh, it's symmetrical and this tree's there and that, but it's always perfect.
Yes, exactly.
Right? It's
Yes.
always beautiful.
Yes, yes.
And that is the creator,
Yes.
the I am that I am, the awareness. The awareness is pure beauty. And so
Yes.
when we experience beauty, we're healed. That's if the awareness is shining through and things are reflecting and refracting back,
Yes.
the more we can create beauty, well, then the reflection back is even a greater beauty because you have the awareness that's always shining into this world of light. And then when we as the human create beautiful moments, loving moments, a devotion, care for each other, what happens is we now, the light reflecting back is even greater.
Yes.
So it is like this. And what we're actually doing in this kind of ping pong of energy, of pure energy, we're actually growing and expanding the consciousness of that light for all of humanity.
Yes, yes. And it's all of us doing that.
All of us doing it.
Even the people who aren't
Oh, yeah,
aware of this
absolutely.
at all.
At all. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not unique to people following what you teach or what I teach. It's someone who's, there was a minute or two ago, there was the sound of the people were picking up the garbage. It comes every Friday, and they pick up the garbage.
Yeah.
And but that's beautiful too. There is beauty in all creation. And one of the things, I think you probably noticed this too, in addition to, it's wonderful to create as much beauty in our lives as possible and as much and amplify the love aspect as well. But the other thing that happens is you start to see everything from the perspective of love, from the perspective of beauty. And that also amplifies things, but it also just feels wonderful.
Absolutely.
And it's very nurturing and supportive of everything.
Absolutely. Well, I have to tell you, you tickle me because I'm thinking when I hear the garbage trucks come, I think that is not beautiful. They need to put a muffle. So now, Hale, I'm like, okay, I got to up my game. I'm going to see how I can make this beautiful.
Right.
I'm thinking, well, maybe that's because you're a guy. Maybe that's
it could be. Who knows?
I mean, like my husband, he's got like cars that make a lot of noise, and I'm like,
Right.
that's so loud. Where's my I don't have a Tesla, but one day I'll get one. They're so quiet. So
Yeah.
right. So it's the perspective, right?
It's all perspective, absolutely. I think there's an expression: beauty is in the eye of the
Yes,
beholder.
exactly.
So that relates on a human level, but it's interesting. As I said that, I realized it relates on a universal level as well, because the eye of the beholder is the one eye that you and I share.
Yes.
So, and all share. So that's wonderful. Yeah.
Well, that's nice. So the eye, which is the beholder through you, experiences the noise as beautiful, and the eye that is within me experiences it as not so beautiful, but it's all perfect
Right, right.
because the
That's true.
eye is having its experience.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's absolutely true. So, I know that you have tools that you like to share with people, and I'd love for you to share one of the things that a tool that you think would be appropriate for the this audience.
Oh, absolutely. Um, I think what I'd like to, and first of all, I'll just say, and thank you for asking, Hale. These tools, which are, quote, spiritual or mystical in nature, in you know how we would interpret it, again, are very practical. And, we are here as spiritual beings having a human experience. And our human experience becomes richer, more exciting, more abundant, or maybe exciting is not the right word, but more
Yes.
fuller with love
Yes.
when we can live in union with this spiritual self, this mystical self, and our practical, got to get things done self. It's so we're not bifurcated back and forth between these two worlds, which gets us exhausted.
Yes.
It's how do we take this spiritual into the world? So these tools are tools that were given to me in deep meditation on the Psalms and on the Tree of Life, the 10 Sephirot of the Tree of Life, and the chakra system. And in deep meditation over years, these different tools were shown to me
Mhm.
and then asked by the watcher, the one that said, share this.
Mhm.
And so I said, okay, okay, yes, yes. So this is where they come from. And the first tool is what we talked about was the silent watcher. And one thing that people have reported back to me has really helped them. They're trying to find a deeper way to connect to the silent watcher is this exercise. So I'd like to try it and see
Oh yeah,
if
let's
that can
do it.
maybe can
Absolutely.
help you, those of you listening and watching. It's kind of silly, it's kind of fun, but we've had great success with it. So it goes like this. So I want you just to close your eyes, and then as you close your eyes and look within, just very gently watch your breath. Just watching your breath. Inhale and exhale. Just a few breaths. And now I want you to imagine, use your imagination, because imagination is really our key to opening up our divine self. And I want you to imagine that there's a little mini me, a little you sitting on the top of your forehead. And maybe you're standing there, maybe you're sitting with your legs crossed, maybe you have your hands on your hips. Well, however it is, it's just imagine there's a mini me sitting right up, right where your forehead meets the top of your head. And now from this location, you're just with eyes closed, kind of looking down at your face and looking down at your body. And now maybe you're looking into the room. And if the mind wanders, gently bring it back to your from to this focal point that you're just watching. And now from your mini me, I want you just to imagine you're watching your thoughts. Just seeing. And now as you watch your thoughts, imagine these thoughts are tied up in a little ball of string. And then as you look at your thoughts, they unravel. mysteriously they unravel and they all lay flat like these long threads, very peaceful and in order. And now these threads, which are a thought, gently begin to fall, just falling away, letting go. Very good. And now, from bringing our attention back to our mini me, you can also now just allow that image to float away and be aware that here in this location is this beautiful, beautiful eye, the eye of our soul. And you're just watching. And you, with eyes closed, look what's in front of you, what's behind you. Just look around your room. And now let go and just simply allow awareness to fill your whole being of this silent watcher. Very good. And when you're ready, just open your eyes.
That was fun.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good. What is there anything you want to share with me? And then I'm going to tell you why, kind of how we use this in our everyday life. But
Well,
is there anything you want to share back?
what I found is that my awareness localized in that particular spot.
Right.
And then I actually could see strings falling off.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other thing I noticed? That the silent watcher was watching the entire time.
Exactly.
So that's the main thing I noticed, is that as I'm doing this, it just kind of deepened the awareness of awareness.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Excellent. And you are so expanded and so aware. I was just curious, how that would work with you, because what I have found and received back is, let's say you're a mom and you're at the grocery store, or you're working somewhere and there's all this distraction, a lot going on. So you feel yourself just getting lost in that distraction of reaction. What I found is, just by having a location to anchor into for awareness, which this, interestingly enough, this location here, which is, you notice it's not the crown chakra, or it's not Keter in the tree of life. It's not the third eye, but this area here is a very powerful, it's a vortex, an opening of consciousness. Of course, we have them in our heart and in different areas, but in this area here, when
You should say where here is, because
Yeah.
remember, this is also a podcast.
That's right. So it's right where the top of your forehead meets, like right at your hairline.
Right.
Right. That this area here is an energetic opening of consciousness.
Yes.
So when you just play with it, that's why you say the mini me, and just shift your perception for 1 second to this place, what that does is it breaks that patterning in the brain of whatever's going on, how we're dealing with the world. And automatically what people have shared is, I shifted out of my normal response in a situation to a better response, or I was able to get perspective on a situation. And really, it's all about being able to tap into that awareness at a second's notice,
Yes.
because life is just coming. So that's why I give this tool, because it just, by having a location, it just helps to anchor into awareness.
Yes. Yeah, no,
until you don't need it anymore. But
right.
it's a
Well,
good
it's so,
doorway in.
yes, no,
Yeah.
it's as long as there's any sense of separation, if you feel the motivation to take some constructive action to support that, we need to do that until there's no longer that motivation.
Right.
Uh, and one interesting thing I noticed when I was doing that is uh, I the uh, I didn't get localized at that spot.
Mm.
I just got very big, period.
Good.
And I was
Perfect.
looking at the whole thing.
Great.
But I think well, I'm sure that happens to other people who do this too, that at first you
Absolutely.
start localized there, but then it goes way beyond that.
Exactly. And that's what this is. That's why I said this is a gateway or a vortex.
Yes.
So you can easily help the mind to anchor into a point. And once you attach to the point, you just instantly expand. That's why at the end I said, now where are you? What's your
Right.
experience of awareness?
Yes. Yes.
Because it really is like a doorway to go into that
Great.
awareness. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you
Okay,
for
good.
sharing that.
Of
I'm
course.
sure many people will resonate with that.
Beautiful.
Yeah, one of
Beautiful,
the things that
beautiful.
I just tell people to do it's not as localized, is just to let your awareness or your focus just completely relax. The more
Yeah.
you just open and relax, the more you'll notice that you're not the thoughts, the feelings, the sensations. You're that which is aware. So it's focusing on exactly the same thing. But I love what you just shared. It's a beautiful.
It's interesting how that came to me. Thank you, because absolutely, and this is how I always have taught awareness, just the way you shared. And I was getting reports from people, well, I have a really hard time holding on to that or getting to that. And I prayed and meditated, and that's when I got the message from the divine, from the presence, that there was this gateway uh, that one could focus on this one location and be able to move into awareness. So, hence the little mini me.
That's great. That's great. That's how these things come. I find they come either at moments where you're so not connected to the body mind that there's just awareness. And they also come for me when I'm in front of someone who needs support.
Yeah.
The tool just spontaneously arises according to the need of that particular situation. Do you find that
Right.
too?
Oh, absolutely. To be present.
Yeah.
And that's really what it's all about,
Yes.
is being present in the moment.
Yes.
And then the
Definitely.
moments string up, like it's a string of pearls
Right.
of different colors.
Yes.
But being in the moment, like wherever you are, whoever you're with. And when we're in the moment with anyone, a stranger, someone we know, when we're our presence is fully present with that person, a powerful healing happens
Yes. It's very
in
supportive.
in a split second,
Yes.
because the soul goes, oh, I feel seen. And now my presence is here.
Yes. Wonderful. Great. Yes. It's interesting. I also kid around with people. I say, if you're trying to get into the moment, you're moving away. So try to get out of the moment. See if you can actually get
I
out of the
love it.
now.
Exactly. I love that.
And people go, wait a minute.
Oh,
Well, yeah, I can think about. I think about other time. Yeah, but when does that happen? Now.
that's great.
There's only one now,
That's
and
great.
that's all there is.
I
But I love
think
the way you expressed it too. It's beautiful.
Well, I think, and this is what we have in common, it's like whatever shakes things up.
All right.
Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because the mind gets rigid, and that's where we start to get shrink and fossil, kind of rigid, and we suffer. So it's like whatever we can do to, shake
Right,
it, shake it
exactly,
up, whatever
exactly.
works.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Great. So, do you have a challenge for people, something they could focus on for any amount of time? And tell us what time you think would be good to focus on.
Sure. I would say let's do a silent watcher challenge, which is also pure awareness challenge. And I would say for a week, uh, 1, 2, 3 times a day for 1 minute, just connect into that mini me. Again, it's located where your forehead and the top of your head meet. You just imagine that you're sitting there. Now, you may immediately expand into full awareness. When that happens, just allow it to happen. And you may feel a presence, like an enveloping presence around you, an energy. Well, that's you. That's awareness. So just play with it, and again, just 1 or 2 minutes, and just see what happens. See where you are after a week.
I encourage you to follow Deirdre Hade's challenge of touching into the silent watcher for a minute, a few times a day, and notice where it leads you. Look for Deirdre Hade on Instagram or visit her website, deirdrehade.com. That's Deirdre, spelled Deirdre, Hade, spelled Hade, deirdrehade.com. You can learn more about her offerings, including her inspirational book called The Not So Little Book of Surprises, and a quarterly mentoring series she presents live called Receiving Bliss. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe so you have immediate access to future episodes. Please give us a 5-star rating and share it with the people you care about. If you'd like to learn more about my work, my mentor Lester Levinson's work, and the Sedona method, please visit Sedona.com. As you explore our site, you'll learn the key to lasting happiness, success, peace, and emotional well-being. We have books, courses, events, and plenty of free material to explore. Again, go to Sedona.com. That's Sedona.com. Thank you for being here, and we'll catch you in the next episode of Letting Go and the Greatest Secret.